Greetings. I am Dr. Suresh, Assistant Professor, PG Department of Computer Application from St.Joseph College of Arts and Science, Autonomous, Cuddalore. In this presentation, we will discuss about requirement engineering task. Requirement engineering task is one aspect of the requirement engineering which helps in the software engineering activity. Requirement engineering is a bridge for design and construction. It determines whether the system to build is really going to satisfy the needs of the customer. The requirement engineering process is accomplished through the requirement engineering task, which includes 7 distinct functions, namely inception, elicitation, elaboration, negotiation, specification, validation, and requirement management. First, we will discuss about inception. Inception process initiates the requirement engineering task by asking a number of context-free questions to the stakeholder. This is done to establish the basic understanding of the problem and people who want the solution. The primary communication is between the customer and the developer is established here. Next phase is elicitation. Elicitation phase asks the customer, the users, and others about what will be the objective of the system. In other words, elicitation defines the objective of the system. Elicitation is difficult because of the following reasons. Problem of scope. Here the boundary of the system or problem is ill-defined. It is not clearly stated. Next is problem of understanding. The user or customer are not completely sure about the problem domain, and problem of volatility, where the requirement change over time. These are the 3 aspects which makes elicitation process very difficult. To overcome these difficulties, the requirement engineering must be done in an organized manner. The next phase is elaboration phase. In elaboration, the information captured during the previous elicitation phase is expanded and refined. All the requirements given by the customer may not be useful, but it is the duty of the analyst to validate the requirements. The steps carried out in elaboration are refining and expanding the requirement, developing an analysis model that defines the information, functional and behavioral domain of the problem. Next comes negotiation. Different customers or users may propose conflicting requirements which may create deadlock. So negotiation is necessary to make things to move smoothly. There should be no winner or no loser in an effective negotiation. These are the steps carried out in the negotiation. The development team and stakeholder must reconcile the conflicts through negotiation by sitting together and see the most important requirement to discuss the conflict. Based on rough estimate, effective conflict can be resolved. The conflict resolving process must make each stakeholder and develop to satisfy. The next task in requirement engineering is specification. Specification is the final work product produced by the requirement engineering. It serves as a foundation for subsequent software engineering activities. Specification means different things to different people. A specification document may be a written document or a graph model or a mathematical model. There is no predefined template because it may restrict the flow of the system to be built. While writing the specification, it is necessary to remain flexible. The next task in requirement engineering is validation. Validation is to assess the quality and reliability of the specification created. Specification is nothing but it's a document, SRS document, where the collected documents are documented, and the document is called specification requirement. It checks whether all the software requirements are stated unambiguous, inconsistent, omission, and errors, and detect and correct it. The primary requirement for validation mechanism is a formal technical review, that is FTR. Here, validation is performed to assess the quality of the specification. The final task in requirement engineering is requirement management. Requirement management is to identify, control and track the changing requirement. The changing requirement is done with the help of traceability table, which is shown beside here. The traceability table is created after identifying the requirement. These rows represent the requirements and these columns represent the specific aspects of requirements that change during time. The next concept in requirement engineering is requirement engineering process. Here we have to deal with identifying the stakeholder, working towards collaboration, recognizing multiple viewpoints, and asking the first set of questions. First, we have to identify the stakeholder. The stakeholder is someone who benefits in a direct or indirect association with the software being built. For example, the product manager, business manager, marketing people, internal and external customer, end user, consultancy, software engineers, and support and maintenance engineers are the stakeholders who are benefited by the project. We have to recognize various viewpoints. So next step is to recognize the multiple viewpoint of the stakeholders. Each stakeholder may have different opinions about the system to be built. Each stakeholder should accept the different functionality that is given to different stakeholders. For example, a business manager may need a quality system, a financial manager may need a cost-effective system, end user may want the system to easy to learn and use, and support engineers may want a easily maintainable system. So these aspects will be taken into consideration. So different people working in the organization have different views, and we have to consider all the views. So recognize the multiple viewpoints is very important aspect in requirement engineering. The next, working towards collaboration, we have gathered the multiple viewpoints from the stakeholders. The next step is working towards collaboration. The customers with other stakeholders should collaborate among themselves to build a successful system. The job of the requirement engineer is to identify in which all the stakeholders agree and in which some of the stakeholders have conflicts with each other. The final decision of the conflict will be decided by the business manager or a senior technologist. The next step in initiating the requirement process is asking the first set of questions. The first set of conduct-free question focus on the customers and other stakeholders, overall goals and benefits. For example, who is begin the request for this work, who will use the solution. The final set of questions focus on the effectiveness of the communication activities gathered during requirement phase. For example, are you the right person to answer or else provide the additional information? All my questions relevant to the problem you have. This question will help to break the ice and initiate the communication for the successful elicitation. The next concept in requirement engineering is eliciting requirements. Elicitation phase asks the customers, the end users, and other stakeholders about the objective of the system. This phase has the following activities: collaborative requirements gathering, quality function deployment, that is QFD, user scenarios, and elicitation work products. Collaborative requirement gathering. The stakeholder and the developers work together to identify the problem. Some of the basic guidelines for conducting the collaborative requirement gathering are given below. Meetings are conducted and attended by both software engineers and customers, along with other interested stakeholders. Rules for preparation and participation are established. An agenda is prepared to cover all the important points. Facilitators to conduct the meeting can be a customer or a developer or an outsider who controls the meeting. A definition mechanism can be in the form of wall stickers, chat room, or electronic bulletin board. The goal of the meeting is to identify the problem and propose a solution. Next comes quality function deployment, that is QFD. QFD is a technique that translates the customer needs to requirement for the software. QFD defines in a way that maximizes the customer satisfaction. There are three types of requirements that can satisfy the customer, namely normal requirement, expected requirement, and exciting requirement. The normal requirement is nothing but the object to define the requirement gathering is satisfied through normal requirements. For example, normal requirement may be requested a type of graphical displays and defines the level of performance. Expected requirement are the fundamental requirement that are not explicitly declared by the customer during the requirement gathering phase, but the system engineer or analyst will include these during code. The next thing is a exciting requirement. These requirements reflect features that go beyond the customer's expectation and prove to be very satisfactory when it is presented to the customers. The next concept in requirement engineering is user scenario. As requirements are gathered, the developers and the users will create a set of scenario, that is use case diagrams, gathering the requirements of the system by user point of view to provide a description of how the system will be used. And nothing but a demo. A demo is created here. Next is the elicitation work products. The work product produced as a consequence of requirement elicitation will vary depending on the size of the system or product to be built. For most systems, the work product includes a statement of need and feasibility, scope of the system or product, a list of customers, users, and other stakeholders who participated in requirement elicitation, and description of the technical environment, and set of user scenarios. This is all about requirement engineering, which includes requirement engineering task, initiating the requirement engineering process, and eliciting requirements. Thank you.